Good afternoon, my name is Camden and welcome back to my channel. As you may or may not know, I am in the process of moving right now. Fortunately, I'm only moving about 8 minutes away from where I live right now. The day this video goes up will be the day that we are fully moving in here. But of course, I've been doing some moves here and there throughout the week, just trips over in the car. And the first priority was, of course, setting up my bookshelves. Unfortunately, this apartment is a little smaller than our previous apartment, so I wasn't able to fit all 4 of my bookshelves in here, but I was able to find space for 2 of them, so I've cut down my book collection by about half. The rest are in storage, which is not ideal. But I just wanted to go through, give you guys a little bit of a bookshelf tour, and show you the books that I decided to keep on my shelves while we are living in this place. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching. Let me start off by giving you guys kind of a stood back view of what my shelves look like. I have one on the left of the window, one on the right, and then I have my little electric fireplace thing in the middle. This is located in my husband's office space, so he was kind enough to lend me a wall for my books. Obviously, as you can see, I organize my books by color. They're in kind of a rainbow pattern here. I find this to be the most aesthetically pleasing way to organize my books for me. And as you'll see as I get to the end, the bottom shelf there is all of the series that I wanted to keep. I don't bother organizing those by color. Typically, when I had all of my books, I have an entire shelf that is series, and I keep them all together because I can't stand the thought of separating them. But the majority of the books that I own are either standalone novels or companion books. I think this is just the best way that works for me. And again, I really love how it looks aesthetically to have them all organized by color. So yeah, I'll move in a little closer and I'll go over every book with you guys. Up at the top here, I have just a few knickknacks as well as some books that wouldn't fit on the first shelf. So right here I have this little teapot that I believe is originally from Morocco. I got it at a garage sale of somebody who was really well-traveled, and they were selling a bunch of the items that they'd collected over the years. I really love the shape of this little teapot and the designs on it. I think it's so beautiful. And then next to it I have this little Leaning Tower of Pisa statuette and just one of these little cardboard box shaped like a book that you can find at any craft store. Then for the books, I have Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick. This is my favorite book of all time, so it has a special place of honor at the very top of my shelf. Next is Dig by A.S.K. I Am Still Alive by Kate Alice Marshall, and The Weight of Feathers by Anna Marie McLemore. Okay, up at the top over here, I have just this little vine, a couple of battery operated candles. This little bus there is, I don't know, a little Canada knickknack, which is one of only 2 countries outside the United States that I've been to, so Canada represent. And then for books on the top shelf, I have The Blackbird Girls by Anne Blankman, The Maid by Nita Prose, and The Inheritance of Orchidia Divina, which I did read last year, but I'm kind of considering rereading again just because I feel like I didn't enjoy it as much as I would have if I was in a different mood when I read it. Moving down to the next shelf, I have my little C letter for Camden, obviously. I'm gonna move it out of the way while I go through the books. On top, I have some silk flowers that I got at Michael's. I just wanted to kind of add a little pizzazz to the bookshelves, so I picked up a few different colors of flowers to put on top of my books. Then from left to right, I have My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downey, A Spark of Light by Jodi Picoult, An Ember in the Ashes, and A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir, Erased by Kai Sanbei. This is one of the very few mangas I've ever read, but I really enjoyed it, and I definitely want to continue on with this series. On the Come Up by Angie Thomas, Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessel, The Beauty of the Moment by Tanaz Vathina, Since We Last Spoke by Brenda Ruffiner, Sadie by Courtney Summers, We Walked the Sky by Lisa Fiedler, The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose, Verona Comics by Jennifer Dugan, Leaving Time by Jodi Picoult. This is another one of my all-time favorite books. Every Day by David Levithan. This is a book that I really liked. I would not say it's my all-time favorite, but the reason that I brought it to this apartment is that I'm considering doing kind of like a rereading books that I loved when I was a kid video, and if I do, this book would be the perfect candidate to include in that video. Air Awakens by Elise Kova, The Dance of Anger by Harriet Lerner, Lord of the Flies by William Golding. This is my all-time favorite classic that I've ever read, and I wrote one of my best high school essays on it. Next is Hungry Hearts. This one is an anthology of 13 tales of food and love, and it's from all around the world. And last on this shelf is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Okay, moving on to the next shelf. This is my red and orange shelf. I've got some little daisies, little tulips up here. Very cute. I have a strong feeling everything is gonna fall as I'm trying to pull these books out. And on the right here, I have this little C letter that is a old book. One of my friends gave me this. Okay, so starting from left to right again, I have How It All Blew Up by Arvin Amadi, The Last Flight by Julie Clark, The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys, Winter Counts by David Heska Wan Blue Whedon, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, The Missing American by Kwai Cordy, Nocturna by Maya Motain, The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. This is another 9th grade favorite of mine. I'll Never Tell by Catherine Mackenzie, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, No One Will Miss Her by Kat Rosenfield, With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kawhi Strong Washburn, Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and illustrated by Faith Erin Hicks. This is such a sweet little fall time graphic novel that takes place at a pumpkin patch, and I love reading this one every fall just for the vibes. Next is Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender, The Martian by Andy Weir, The Giver by Lois Lowry, and Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Okay, moving down to my orange, yellow, and green shelf, I have The Wanderers by Meg Howry, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is by far the biggest book that I own. It's well over 1,000 pages, so it is a beast. Late to the Party by Kelly Quinlan, He Must Like You by Danielle Young-Ullman, Stardaughter by Shweta Thakrar, Someone We Know by Sherry Lapina, Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. This book is so freaking cute. The illustrations in it are so beautiful, and I just found out that they have little plushies for all of the little dragons in here, and I'm really trying to talk myself out of buying them all. Then we have The Knockout by Sajni Patel, The Last Life of Prince Alistair by Alexandra Bracken, The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Next is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, Willa of the Wood by Robert Beatty, The Book of a Thousand Days by Shannon Hale, which I would safely say is my most read book of all time. I think I've read this between 12 and 15 times. Well Met by Jen DeLuca, Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki, The Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds, and Black Enough, which is by a ton of different authors but edited by E.B. Zaboy. The only other little knickknack that I have on this shelf is this little book stamp that my husband got me for my birthday. It says, next shelf is my blue shelf. There's nothing on it apart from books. First, I have Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, A Little Hope by Ethan Joella, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Saint X by Alexis Scheitkin, An Emotion of Great Delight by Tahira Mafi, Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon, Always Never Yours by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca, Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julie Abe, The X-Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, Songs of the Humpback Whale by Jodi Picoult, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, I Wanna Be Where You Are by Christina Forrest, 10 Things I Hate About Pinky by Sandhya Menon, Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali, Stay Gold by Tobly McSmith, The Hunting Wives by May Cobb, Beach Read by Emily Henry, Lucky in Love by Casey West, and The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Okay, moving down to my blue and purple shelf, I have The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed, Future Home of the Living God by Louise Erdrich, I Remember You by Kathleen Davitt Bell. This is another book that I read quite a while ago and I really loved, but kind of in the same vein of like Every Day by David Levithan. I'm wondering if I read it now, if it would hold the same sway over me or if I would kind of feel differently. So this one is kind of due for a reread, I feel. Next is Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam, The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker, Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, Havenfall by Sarah Hall, Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur, Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, The Night Diary by Veera Hiranandani, The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nguyen, We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal, The Push by Ashley Audrain, The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This is the graphic novel version of the novel and the art is by Danica Novgorodov. Gods of Jade and Shadow, also by Silvia Moreno Garcia, another one of her backlist books that I'm really excited to get to. I think this one is inspired by Aztec mythology. Okay, moving on to my purple and pink shelf. As you can see, I have some really cute pansies down here for decoration. And for books, we have My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I have read this book. It is excellent. It is also deeply disturbing, so definitely if you plan on reading it, check all trigger warnings. Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Barron, The Serpent's Curse by Sayantani Dasgupta, A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee, The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin, Once Upon an Eid, which is an anthology surrounding Ramadan. It is edited by S.K. Ali and Aisha Saeed. Next is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen, Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody, The Dating Plan by Sarah Desi, Goddess in the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson, Loveless by Alice Oseman, Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers, The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan, Furthermore by Tahira Mafi, Lovely War by Julie Berry, The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White, Severance by Ling Ma, and The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. Okay, the next shelf down is kind of an awkward, doesn't fit anywhere else type of colors shelf, as you can see. So let me just hop straight into the books. The first one I have is When Life Gives You Mangoes by Corinne Getton, Bruised by Tanya Boteju, You Must Not Miss by Katrina Leno, The Ballerinas by Rachel Kapelke Dale, To Capture What We Cannot Keep by Beatrice Collins, The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. This one is really high up on my want to read list because this is a parallel universe sci-fi novel, which I think is so cool. I bet it deals a lot with like the Mandela effect and stuff like that. So I really want to read this one soon and see what it's all about. Next is Alatsue by Darcy Littlebadger, with illustrations by Ravina Kai. Next is Agnes at the End of the World by Kelly McWilliams. I am planning on doing a reading cult book video sometime in the near future, so I picked this one up for that purpose. Then we have Sherwood by Megan Spooner, Luck of the Titanic by Stacey Lee, The Hallowed One and The Outside by Laura Bickle. Next is Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore, The Mountain Story by Lori Lassens, this is another all-time fave, Caraval by Stephanie Garber, The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow, Body of Stars by Laura Maylene Walter, Girl A by Abigail Dean, The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. Okay, the next shelf is more of the black books that I have. First, I have East and West by Edith Pateau. Next is 1,000 Beginnings and Endings. This is a collection of Asian mythology retellings and legends, and it is edited by Ellen O. and Elsie Chapman. A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is a beautiful book about grief, and it was made into a movie as well a few years ago. If you've never heard of this book, definitely check it out. It is so sweet and touching. The Empress of Salt and Fortune by Nai Vo. I don't think I pronounced that correctly. Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. Wild and Crooked by Leah Thomas. Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This is another all-time favorite. The Reluctant Queen and The Queen of Sorrow by Sarah Beth Durst. I've read the first book in this series, but have not continued on yet. It is really good though. Definitely an underrated fantasy series in my opinion. Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. And the ever-popular Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Moving down to the next shelf, I have some little vines here, you know, for decoration. Very cute. The Atlas 6 by Olive E. Blake. The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. The Ghost Sequences by A.C. Wise. House of Salt and Sorrow by Aaron A. Craig. Trouble the Saints by Alea Dawn Johnson. Blanca y Roja by Anna Marie McLemore. Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. The Enchanted by Renee Denfeld. Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. We Were Restless Things by Cole Magamatsu. This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkoff. Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Dow. Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. Fable by Adrienne Young. And House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. And then down here I have some series. A lot of these don't match colors, but I didn't want to separate them, so they are all here together. Crown of Feathers and Heart of Flames by Nikki Pau-Preto. Scythe and Thunderhead by Neil Schusterman. These Broken Stars and This Shattered World by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. The entire Wayward Children series, minus Across the Green Fields by Seanan McGuire. We have Every Heart a Doorway, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, Beneath the Sugar Sky, Come Tumbling Down, In an Absent Dream, and Where the Drowned Girls Go. Next is the Books of Pelennor series by Alison Krogan, The Naming, The Riddle, and The Crown. And finally, Truly Devious and The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. Thank you so much to anyone who stayed to the very end of this video. I really appreciate all of your support. If you are not already subscribed, you can do so down below or on my end screen. Please like this video if you liked it, share it if you have any friends who love books just as much as we do, and I will see you guys next week for a new video. Happy Friday and have a great week.